So, guys, there's a scene in episode 2 where Jade flirtatiously bumps into this waiter, and you could tell that she's very attracted to him. So, my question for you all, ladies, is when it comes to the dynamics between men and women, do you feel like it's okay for women to approach men? Because that's typically against our gender roles in society. What are your thoughts?
No.
Please.
I feel like I identify as a masculine woman. And so it's like if I'm an alpha, I don't want to bring that in a relationship because if I approach them first, then it's almost like that's kind of setting the tone for me. So I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I have a traditional mindset when it comes to courting and relationship dynamics, and I feel that I would feel like my more feminine self if I was approached. And there is something to be said about how we operate in a relationship, knowing with confidence that the man has sort
Pursued
of
you.
pursued and dominated in that way, and it lends to our desirability. I think I'd always think to myself, God, like, was he ever really into me because I had to approach him 1st?
So I'm gonna
Yeah.
flip that. So on that last point, why do you think guys don't think like that? Is she really into me since I approached her?
Because you guys are naturally hunters and gatherers and we're supposed to be nurturers.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say that men have both masculine and feminine energy?
Yeah, but I think to Cassandra's point, it's there's a level of grooming in that too. Like you are taught to kind of go after. I think you're even taught the skill set maybe among. I don't know. You have to tell me, but I think y'all are like in your man groups having this like whole skill set. Like
groups.
this is how this is how I approached her, and I think and there's layers to that too.
There is.
But I feel that it's almost like from you're a little boy, you're kind of maybe told, and you tell me, like, are you guys told to approach and how to approach a woman? Because we over here waiting for the man in the knight in shining armor.
Yeah, I would
you
say
know?
that. I would say amongst boys, like we talk about that. We're like, yo, how do you like Toronto slang? How do you chop this girl? Did you chop?
Yeah,
You know, like
ew.
back in the day, Toronto slang, right?
Ew.
Like, how do you talk to this girl? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, so we had those conversations. But me personally, I never liked approaching women.
Okay.
I was always a person that stood back and like, let girls approach me. You know what I'm saying? Not like intentionally, like I'm like arrogant letting girls
Yeah.
approach me. Like I was shy letting
So
girls
were you
approach
the
me.
boy in school who'd like bump into the girl and tease her and then walk off type of thing?
Pull her ponytails.
Yeah.
No. I wouldn't even go there. I was just more like I wouldn't even. I think I wasn't good at catching cues, so I didn't know when a girl would like was interested in me. So I always stood back, and they would tell me after like I liked you for so long or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, oh, I didn't catch it. You know, because I just don't like rejection. I know.
true.
You know, the one time I was aggressive. It was I just broke up with my girlfriend. And then I went to Windsor and I'm like, F it. I'm going to go crazy. And I went and tried to talk to 4 different girls and got shut down by all of them. So I'm like, I'm done. I'm never doing
I'm
this
done.
again. Like, that's as much as that was like not a few years ago, but it was like fairly recent. I was an adult when that happened, you know?
No, shriveled up and died.
So I just don't do that. I would
rejection
actually
is
prefer
awful.
it. But it also
terrible.
doesn't, to me, it doesn't make me feel like I missed out on the chase part of it because you still got to court. And I think courting is where I like being a man. Like that's where I'm like, yo, we're going here for dinner. Like,
you're like-
yo,
So
I'm gonna
you
order the
got the
drink.
like-
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like I
Yeah.
feel more aggressive and masculine in the courting period. I don't feel masculine or like
I feel
confident when I'm just like looking because I've been out even recently. Like I've been out and I'll see girls like staring at me. I'm just like, I'm still not.
Something
going.
Kern said actually is what shapes my answer. So your question was, is it okay? It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. However, if other women want to do it, there are men out there who, like Kern, would prefer that the woman be more direct. I think, though, like for me, what I've learned recently is it's not so much about approaching men, but making it very clear that I'm interested. Because a lot of men are
They miss social cues.
not perceptive.
Okay, let's go there. Let's hold that though.
I
Hold
do
on.
have
Yeah.
a thought around this though,
Yeah.
because when I'm hearing you say rejection, I think in my mind, I'm like, is rejection tied to being a masculine trait? Because my immediate thought is, as the man having to pursue or be the hunter, I think, if I'm honest with myself, there's a part of me that thinks that you would be more comfortable, as a man, would be more comfortable with rejection than I would as a woman approaching, because I'm sort of expected to sit and wait.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
We're
agree.
also
reward it.
expected to be the desired one, right? So
Desired,
when you
right.
get rejected, it's like, it hurts that much more.
Right.
Because a lot of the messaging that we get as girls is every man is trying to sleep with you. Every man wants to be with you. So if you approach a man and he rejects you, it's like, is something wrong with
Right.
me?
We're going to internalize it way
Whereas
more.
men are like, oh, it's a numbers game. And you see this in the way men, when they go out and they're approaching women, because if you approach 10 women, one might say yes. If you approach one woman and she rejects you, your chances are shot.
That was me. So, Talia, back to your point. So these social cues, right? You said that you don't feel that most men are perceptive to picking up those social cues. So what are those social cues that you would be giving out?
If every time you look in my direction, we make eye contact, believe me, that is come and talk to me, because this is how I navigate spaces. I do not make eye contact with people because they use that as an invitation. Right. So I'm very intentional. If you look at me and I'm doing this, that's all you need. Now, most men don't get that. So then you do other things, it's the way you play, well, I don't have hair, but I play with my earrings, or it's like, the flirtatious look up and down. Like, there are things you can do that are like, I am signaling to you without literally saying, hello, hi, come and talk to me, because what if you don't want to talk to me?
There's definitely like a three glances type of
triple
cue.
take?
A triple take. It's like, I see you, okay, I'm interested, and if I don't go for that third, don't bother. But if we've locked on the third, I'm inviting you over, kind of thing.
Right. What about you, Cass?
I feel like somebody just needs to give me a sign that says, do you think I'm cute, yes or no? And you just check that, and then we go from there. Because it's hard. I feel like for me, it's creepy if I keep doing the glances and we make eye contact, and then he comes over and I wanted this, but I don't know if I wanted this.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's your masculine side too, though, the masculine energy, because I know for sure the masculine part of me on that second glance is like, I ain't looking again. It's like, nah. I just, even if I'm interested, I just feel, or the number of times a man has been like, can I buy you a drink? And I'm like, nah, but I'll buy you one. I have done that so much in my past, and it was like a way, again, it's back to that, I guess, commitment. It's that part of me that's like, I'm here, but I'm not. Yeah.
See, but it's not even that for me, because I don't even have to like you that much. But if you're gonna offer to buy me something, buy the drink.
See, I clearly don't know how to receive.
$10 at the most.
Whoa,
And
yesterday's prices.
Yesterday's
That's about 20 bucks.
I'm sorry.
That's about 20 bucks.
I haven't been out in Toronto in a little bit, but it's $20 at the most. I'm worth $20 for conversation. If you want to talk to me, and no, I don't expect it. Let me be clear. I'm not saying you have to buy me a drink, but if you offer me a drink and you're going to be in my face for the next 10 minutes, buy the drink.
Yeah.
So would you never approach a guy? Because what if it's
I've
someone
done it
that
twice.
you've met? There
I've
you
done
go.
it twice. I did it once in high school, and I still can't look that guy in the eye.
Wow.
I hope he doesn't see this video. And then I did it again. Oh, God. And then I did it again as an adult, like a young adult. And it was just, it was reciprocated, but it just didn't feel right. I don't have the same masculine energy that you guys have. I'm very, very feminine. So for the same reason, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel natural for me.
It's interesting that you say that you don't feel like you have a lot of masculine energy. I feel like often being direct is associated with being masculine, and I get the feeling you're a very direct person. So I do feel a bit of masculine energy, just my kind of perception. So here's it. I'm going to flip the script a little bit, right? So we're all black here, obviously. We're all melanated people. So often there's this narrative in the community that, there's not a lot of good men in our community, or there's a lack thereof. Do you feel that perhaps if women had more of a go-getter mentality when it came to dating, as they did in business and all these other different areas in their life, that things would be a little bit different?
Absolutely not, because men are already missing the mark when we are sitting back and waiting for them to get it. If I have to go get in the relationship, you are going to feel like you have less to do now, because I've shown up. I showed up. I bought the first drink. I asked you out. What effort are you gonna make if I'm doing all the work? Like women
Can
as
be a house husband?
would I want a house husband?
Yeah, because I
Absolutely
feel like
not.
that's the
I don't
next
wanna
thing,
work
right? Like
anymore.
it would be a role reversal.
Yeah.
So
I'm
just
not
based
used to
so
that.
let me get this straight. So just based on the simple fact that you approach a guy, you think he will be lesser than as a traditional man for the entire relationship.
No, I think it's.
Unfortunately for me, yes.
I think it's how the first question was posed. Because in your first question, you said if we were to approach it as though the same hustle and drive as we put into a business. And so, to your point, Talia, if I've got to come in with that same hustle and drive I've put into my
I
business
see
with
it.
this man,
I see
then
it.
it's like the thing too that I think isn't spoken of, at least with Black women in success, is a lot of times our material success has a lot to do with our self-worth.
Right.
And so if I am already striving for this business material success, because there are parts of me that feel that I need this to show up a certain way or to feel confident a certain way, and now I got to put that same into my romantic relationship, when am I ever going to have a sense
feel
of
you.
self-worth?
So that's my bad. What I meant by that, and I just didn't articulate it correctly. What I meant by that is women are very forward in other areas of their life. I mean by just simply taking action.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily mean come like you're, I'm going to approach 10 guys today, like that mentality. I didn't mean it.
call.
I didn't mean it like it's a boiler room, right? I just simply meant like, oh, you see a guy you like, you shoot your shot.
Yeah.
I just simply meant it in that regard.
My answer is still no.
Yeah.
And it's part of the point you were making, Natasha, is we work so hard at everything. I work to build my business. I work to develop myself as a person. I work to take care of my family. I work to be a good friend. I don't want another job
But you're okay with men doing that.
because men don't do as much. And we could argue about that as much as you want.
Literally,
but
when
you
she
don't.
said that, I felt like I had to get like, oh yes, like I felt
You
the
don't.
exhale.
In what ways?
In literally every other way, because all of the things that we achieve, we have to do with the burden of womanhood. So the same hustle we have to do to achieve something in our job, I now have to do that as a woman. So I now have to not only earn your respect because I'm talented, I have to get you to respect me because I'm a talented woman. When I'm taking care of my family, no one expects me to be able to do it. I'm doing it as a woman against the odds. So it's not that men aren't working hard, and I don't mean for that to sound disrespectful, but you do not carry the burden of womanhood and sexism all the time. So everything you're doing, we have to do it with twice the labor.
Yeah,
And
there's
with
still a
twice
male
the
privilege
disrespect.
that, in
For
spite
sure.
of being a Black
And I
man,
think
there's
there's,
still that male
I do feel like I do agree with what you're saying, but I also think there's also disadvantages to being a male. Like when you talk about risking your life, any woman you take on a date, if he is a traditional man, he's essentially saying whether that contract was signed or not, that I'm putting my life before yours. And I think that is something that's inherently belongs to the male side of the species. But what I really want to ask you, Talia, is do you ever feel that you could be cheating yourself out of an opportunity just by the simple fact that you're already saying, it doesn't matter if I feel this man is attractive, doesn't matter if we've looked each other twice in the eyes, he hasn't picked up the social cues. Do you ever get the moment that guy, because I didn't take that step, that I could be missing out on an opportunity?
No, because there are no magic men, as there are no magic women. If he didn't approach me, someone else will.
That's interesting.
I think to defend her point too, if you know your values and you know that one of your values is leadership from him, then that isn't the right person, no matter how attractive he looks, because the right person would have approached her.
It's interesting.
I feel like my option is shallow as hell because I'm going to be physically attracted to you first, and I feel like if he doesn't approach me, then he's probably not physically attracted to me enough. Because we approach people based on what we see, right? Because there is no opportunity to, unless you're introduced by a mutual friend, there is no opportunity to make any form of connection. So you have to see something that's like, I want to pursue that. And if you don't have that initial, I want to pursue that, then the chances are you're probably a person who's slower to build in a relationship.
That's a big assumption.
Yeah.
Because
It is a huge assumption.
Like, because we're talking about one very specific way of meeting a person, meeting like boy meets girl. We're talking
Yeah.
about being out and you just meet this person for the first time, right?
they
and
gotta
then
be
walking.
cute.
Yeah, but I'm saying though, like in most instances, the way people connect is through mutual friendships or at work, or like you have at least some kind of familiarity with that person. So in that instance, like a guy could actually be all of those things. He could be that person that does not want to approach you, but because I know you now, because Talia introduced me to you, I'm gonna be like very aggressive and be like, "Yo, Cassandra looks good." Like, I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying?
And I
and
feel
take
like-
all those things, but I'm the same person that's in the club that looked at you last week, but was too nervous to approach you. So you just lost out. You know what I'm saying? Because
But context-
Context
matters.
You
but-
lost though, because you had the opportunity to approach her and you did.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying in the example. I'm saying like
No, but I
for
get
her
what you're saying,
perspective,
but
right?
I get what you're saying, right? But like, if the stars don't align, they don't align.
I also think like, there's something to be said about courage. And that's gonna I'm gonna pay attention to courage. That's a characteristic that's sexual and appealing to
Yeah,
me.
but I'm
course.
saying like that.
So-
I would not think of myself as a not courageous person.
Yeah.
Like I look at myself and I know my confidence is on a
Yeah.
trillion. You know what I'm saying? With my work, I'm a dope father. I'm a good, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
brother, friend, son. Like my confidence is super high. I am just not comfortable talking to a girl that I've never met in a situation that is public. That is
Yeah.
literally my
that's
cutoff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But to say
circumstances
that
matter.
makes me like
Right.
like not a leader
No, but
or
no
like
one's
not.
saying that.
No, I know,
think
but I'm
from
saying
the
like.
receiving end, what happens in that moment when we've glanced at each other first time, second time, maybe third, really determines, like as we're saying, if we're in a bar or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Is like, this is a breaking point of, to your point, if we're gonna let someone leave, stay or go, and if what you said is if he desires me enough, then at certain you don't know if you're gonna have that second opportunity to be in a space with her.
I want to ask a question.
So do you allow it to slip through your fingers or do you take it?
Yeah. No, I get, and that act of courage is like going against your natural like instincts
Yeah.
and saying, all right, I'm normally not like this, but
Yeah. But something
Natasha looks good. I'm gonna go. Yeah.
And that's the thing, like as a woman, if you come up to me and you say, I don't normally approach women, but you were so beautiful I had to talk. Girl, listen.
But
You
that
can
don't
have my
sound
number
like
right
a
now.
lie. That sounds like a lie, no?
Yeah, not if you say it right.
Girls like,
Not if you say
I
it
feel
right.
like we're discerning
I
enough
don't
to know
usually-
when someone is like just
No,
talking
you can
shit.
tell.
Yeah.
Right?
For
Like-
sure.
He took a while to come over, because what that says to me is, damn, I look good. And that's good for the ego. And
It sure is.
there's nothing wrong with that. The same way
Do
men
you
like
wanna
their
date
ego
somebody
stroked,
ugly?
women do.
Okay, so basically what we're going to talk about now is basic men. That's what we're going to talk about. But we're taking it back to Wallflower. So in Wallflower, there's a scene where the two main characters are arguing, and one of them, Belle, is late trying to help Jade out. Right? She's supposed to be at Jade's house earlier in the day. She doesn't go, and she doesn't go because she's with her boyfriend. So she gets there and she's telling Jade this. She's like, Jade, I was with Jason. Like you should understand. This is Jason. This is the guy that I've been, like for so long. And Jade's like, I don't care. Like I could have hooked you up with any basic guy that I know, because Jade's that girl, right? She's that confident girl. So she's like, I could have hooked you up with plenty of basic men. And Belle takes that personally, and ends up walking out. That's how the scene actually ends, with Belle leaving and their friendship a little bit fractured, let's say. So the question is, what actually qualifies as a basic guy? You know what I mean? Like, what is basic?
Let's
Because
go.
There's a lot of ways you could take that.
Let's go with Talia. I heard that sigh. I heard
Let's
that
go.
sigh from here.
A basic guy is uninteresting, not invested in his personal development, does not bring anything to the table, and not necessarily financially, but he just has nothing to offer.
Yes.
He does not help you grow. He does not stretch you. He's not interesting. He's not funny. He's not charming. Your mom don't like him.
Can I just ask
He's just a
one
dude.
quick question as we're going, and then all of you can chime in with the general question, but just one quick question. Can a rich guy be basic?
Yes.
Okay.
Basic is not a financial bracket.
Okay.
It's a personality.
It's a mentality.
Okay.
It's just like, when you get a car and it don't come with heated seats
It's basic.
and it don't have power windows and there's no sunroof.
You gotta turn the window down like this.
The car rolls. You put gas in it, it's gonna go,
I
but
like that.
it's not giving you anything.
It's functional.
It works. Like he's okay. He's alive. He's not a bad guy.
Just a basic
He's just
guy.
basic.
Is that how you would define it, Cassandra?
Pretty much, yeah. Like you don't want anything more. Baseline is your content line.
Mm.
And I feel like that's a terrible place to be.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Yeah, I love
Here
it.
No,
we
but I
go.
don't disagree
Here
with
we
that.
go.
Let me say that, 'cause I don't disagree. As I listened to your definition, I was like, okay, I get it. But I also think that there are people that desire that. I think us as do not desire your definition of basic because of who we are. But I feel like there's women who I was thinking about this when I saw the question. Like, there are women who would maybe desire a basic, a very simple person. Because when I think of basic, I also equate it to the word simple. So there are probably some women who desire simple. Like, I might want a big breakfast, eggs, plantain, sausage, and then there might be some days where I'm like, yo, I just want. Or maybe I don't want none of that. Maybe I just want a little porridge or something. And that's like, and that might be okay for that person. So I have, when I hear the question, I'm like, I feel like it's so nuanced
Yeah.
in that way.
It is nuanced though, because
Yeah.
like basic could be totally fine. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like it could
Exactly.
it
You both
moves,
said
right?
functional when you describe this person.
Like I said, not a basic is. I think
It's not
we've
bad.
seen
It's
basic
not
as a bad thing.
Yeah.
But when we if we expand the term basic, we talk about basic and we say like basic white girls and pumpkin spice lattes. But pumpkin spice lattes are delicious. Like sometimes basic is safe. And so to the point you're making, there's some women whose lives are so like tumultuous and like there's so much going on that a basic man is just a place of safety where they know what they're going to get and everything is consistent and they don't have to worry because he's just there.
He's consistent.
Or they don't want to be challenged. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's also that part of it, right? Like I've met women like that. They're just like, nah, you're too much for me. Like, you know, they don't want to be challenged. Okay, so let me ask you this then. So why like in the Jade example I just gave you, in the Wallflower example, why do we like weaponize the word basic? Like why is it like a negative? Like as soon as we said when we showed that clip and someone and Jade said basic, everyone was like, oh, like off of a word basic. Yeah, we sit down here and have a nuanced conversation. We could tackle it, but let's be real. Like basic, that's something that no one wants a basic. Not in that way, right? Not in the way that we think about it initially. So why is it that then, and why don't girls want that?
I feel like society has just put a negative connotation to it. Like there's so many things that we use the words out of context, and it's like if you go back to its root, it's completely opposite of what we
Right.
now use it as. So I think again context matters, but also Jade was coming at it from a place of I needed you to be here for me, and you chose a man. Like you chose
like just that man.
him?
Yeah.
Right. So would it matter if he wasn't basic? Would that still
No,
be
I think he
offensive?
could have been everything,
Yeah.
and Jade would have still classified him as
Classified him as
basic
basic.
because she was hurt,
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
right? It's like she needed her friend, and her friend chose a man,
Right.
and that hurt her ego because it's almost like if you have no one, the people who you do have, you're hoping that they show up for you the way they say they're going to show up for you.
And that's true.
Exactly.
And that's true to who you are in real life as well. I'm asking a question.
Me?
Yeah. So if that was you
Yes.
and he wasn't, let's say, basic,
Mhm.
whatever that means to you, would you respond the way that Jade responded?
I wouldn't have, but I think it's because I would take my ego out of it because if I know that my friend is a very introverted person and this is more or less her time to shine with the person that she's been crushing on him for so long, yeah, I'm going to be a little hurt that she wasn't there for me, but her parents were there for me, right?
Right.
It's like I support you. I'm a little hurt, but you can help me unpack these boxes and we can talk about it now.
I feel a little differently. I wouldn't have used the language of basic. I wouldn't have insulted the man because really he didn't do anything wrong. It's my friend that abandoned me. And there's a certain amount of grace, like for what you're saying, like, oh, you're shy and you finally connected with this guy, like that's great. But you're 6 hours late for a man you just started dating. But when you were crying on the floor and sad about this and mad about that, it was my lap you were crying in. And he might be gone tomorrow, but you're gonna expect me to still be here. So it's not so much about the caliber of the man, it's the character of the friend.
Yeah.
I feel like he could have been Michael B. Jordan. 6 hours, sis?
Yeah.
That's wild.
I understand, but also I feel like when we have relationships, there should be reciprocity, but sometimes you do have to give them grace, right? And I feel, I don't even know how to package this properly so it's succinct. I feel like if I'm doing something for my friend in that moment, I'm not doing it hoping that when it's my time to now ask for something from you, you're going to show up the same way I showed up for you. So in relationships, you kind of have to do things without expectation. And it's like, I hope that when it's time for me to receive this, I'm receiving it at the same level that I gave it to you. But if I don't, I'm not going to be mad because I did this with pure intentions. I did it because I wanted to. I didn't do it because I felt like I was forced to do it.
Like a response to something.
Yeah.
I get
It's not like a
that.
tit for tat.
I get that, but reciprocity is a standard expectation for me in relationships. I am not doing it
Friendship.
for the like whatever kind of relationship with my family, with my friends, with partners. I'm not doing it because I want you to do it back. But if you are not reciprocating, that is not a healthy relationship for me. I don't feel safe there. So it's not that, oh, you didn't do it back, you're wrong. It's like, oh, you didn't do it back. Maybe this is not a safe place for me to be. Because I am a giver by nature. I am the person who will drop everything and show up for friends. I am very sacrificial in my relationships. And that's only a safe thing to do when you are being given that in return. So if Jade is the kind of person that would have dropped everything for Belle and Belle just kind of left her hanging, I could understand why she'd be like, you know what, no, like that's not okay for me. She shouldn't have turned that against Jason, who just innocently enjoying Belle's company. Yeah. But I understand why she'd be so angry because it's just like, it takes a lot to give that much, and then to just have it snatched back when you're expecting it, it's painful.
Does the gravity of the moment matter? Meaning that if Belle had stood up Jade for dinner, Like, you know what I mean? Like that
That's
probably
what I
would
was
have
thinking about.
been.
Like, it's circumstantial too, because something like a big move and it's my first time, maybe, like, I need everyone in my corner. This is a big, scary thing for me. And to your point, like, and I agree with both of you in different ways, but I think, like, if I'm giving at moments where it feels like you're always in crises, this one big moment, okay, if you set me up for dinner, fine, I could give grace, but a move or something that's life changing for me, I'm going to, I can't help but notice that. Yeah.
So,
that's helpful context for sure.
so speaking of context, let's just say they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, they were engaged or married. Is there ever a point in someone else's relationship, if they're your best friend or what have you, where that relationship can supersede your own in that same scenario or situation?
Yes.
I think it depends.
I think it's marriage, right? Because you're committing to this person. At least for me, I remember I was watching this episode of This Is Us, and
God.
yeah, and I don't remember their character names, but the black couple.
Beth and Randall.
Yes.
Love
So one of them was like, "I need my teammate,"
Yeah.
and it's like that is the trump card. If I say I need you, it means I need you because I need you.
Yeah, but that's why I say it depends, because there's a difference between, oh, I flaked on my friend in her moment of need because I was at dinner with my husband, or I chose to prioritize my husband's need where he needed me to be there when my friend needed me. Like, there's a difference. Like, you can't use your marriage as an excuse to be a shitty friend.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people do that. They're like, oh, that's my husband. I'm like, yeah, but your husband didn't need you to eat dinner with him today when I was in crisis.
That's the climate of this city, though. I feel like there's like the married elite, and then there's like the single people. It is like, it's very much like people get married in this city, and all of a sudden, and I know there's, again, I'm very much about the nuances and layers. So I know marriage, mortgage, money, there's all kind of things that make it so that it now becomes harder to socialize and give to your friends. But I do think that unfortunately, I don't think that married couples with single friends allow there to continue to be a community. I think
it depends, because having been married and having integrated a lot of my friendships into that relationship, if my friend called in crisis, it was either both of us are going, or he's saying, go and help your friend.
Right.
Because it wasn't like, oh, we're married and we're this special little grouping over here and those people over there. It was I married you, and those people were important to you when I married you, so now they're important to me. And that's what it should be.
What it should be.
It's unfortunate that what you're describing exists, because that's trash.
I think that I don't think it's from a place of like intentionality to say I can't show up for my friends. I think that because we're now married and I have these responsibilities in this family unit, it's harder for me to give to my friends the way I did before. Right. So to your question, it's like there's a balance that we have to find, and then again it comes back to the character of the friendships, because I, as a married woman now, I'm not married, but if I was in a married relationship, I can't serve my bestie the way I would have before. And she's going to have to understand that as well.
Right.
But I feel like that also comes down to a conversation, right? Because ideally, when you enter a relationship, you're entering as two whole people, and then you're coexisting together. But a lot of relationships, unfortunately, they do start as just being codependent right away. And you're not an individual outside of that relationship anymore. So if you both know that you still have your lives outside of each other, then you have that kind of ease of saying, I'm going to go handle my friend because I know that she needs me right now. I'll be home.
Yeah. It's also
and I know
a
you'll
matter
be
of
here.
intention.
You can go hang out with your friends.
Yeah.
Or
it's intention. You have to decide that your friendships are not going to suffer. That was something I decided. I said, I love you. I've married you. I've committed to spending all this time with you. But these people
have been here.
These people have picked me up off the floor. Like, I don't play about friendship. If you are my friend, I will show up at your house at 3 a.m., whether it's to wipe your tears or bury a body. Like, I don't care. And those are the kind of people I keep in my life. So, yeah, if they need me, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And that is how my ex was as well. When his friends needed him, he was gonna go. Like, were there times that we were like, oh, I wish you weren't going right now? For sure. But you have to make that conscious decision that both of those relationships, both your friendships and your marriage, are going to be important, that you're going to make time and dedicate resources, whether those are like financial or emotional or time resources, to both of those kinds of relationships. You have to choose it.
Yeah, I'm a put my friends first over like partner.
I don't know about that.
No, I'm telling you from my experience. That's how I am, and I've gotten in trouble for that like so many times because I'm always like 2 o'clock in the morning phone call. You have to understand from a man's perspective, it's a little bit different because you know if a man gets a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning from another girl and this girl's really his friend though.
Y'all are knocking boots.
It's a you see what I'm saying? Like right away. Right away. Right away.
Put that on speaker right now.
Right away. Look at that. Look how it goes. Like
But if I know the nature of the relationship and I'm confident in our relationship, then I don't see a problem with that. But I feel like I have to be confident in that relationship.
But then how do you set boundaries? Because I'm going to be honest.
You have a conversation.
I'm not going to, I personally, female friends, yes, if 2 o'clock in the morning they call me and need something, but also out of respect for my partner, if my guy friend calls me, I'm going to listen and figure out a way that both me and my partner can help this person. Or do they really need my help? Is there not someone else that they can call? Because I still have to respect my partner and how that could make him feel.
yeah, but I totally get all of that. And it's true. You have to respect that situation. But at the same time, like if you're communicating beforehand and you're like, this is my friend I knew since I was 17. Like this is my friend that blah 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 blah. And in the specific example I just gave, if they're calling at 2 o'clock in the morning and it's not a normal thing, I'm picking up that phone and I'm not putting it on speaker because I don't know what situation is happening.
No, and I don't.
You know
When
what I'm
I
trying
say
to
put
say?
it on
Like,
speaker, I don't mean.
I know you don't.
right
I know you don't
away.
actually mean that, but I'm
But
saying
like,
like,
we 20 minutes into this conversation, so she's clearly not dying.
yeah.
What are you talking about?
Okay,
Maybe
so
dead though.
let me ask another question, kind of back to the initial conversation. Does basic Jason have any culpability in saying, hey, like you were supposed to be here? You know what I'm saying? Helping your friend.
It would
Like-
make me side eye him.
You know?
Like if my friend had a new boyfriend and I would be like, did you tell him you were supposed to come and see me? And if she said yeah, and I was like, so he didn't say. Now it's like, okay, well, was he encouraging you to not go? Because now I have
Now you can
questions.
side eye.
Exactly.
Yes,
Now
okay.
like I'm gonna try and feel it out because ultimately the person with responsibility to me is my friend. But if this person's gonna be in your life, they're gonna be in my life too, and I need to know what kind of person I'm dealing with. Is this a person I need to be careful of? Because if they are encouraging you to neglect your friendships this early on,
Right.
I now start, and this might be, I may be watching too
feel like
much
you're
true
reading
crime, but you have to be careful about relationships, gender regardless. Like, are you isolating this person? Do you expect them to neglect who was in their life before you showed up? Because that's not healthy.
Could they not just be simply in love and just selfishly just want to spend all their time with this newfound relationship?
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like everybody has the honeymoon phase, right? Especially what is it, like a week?
Yeah,
2
they're
weeks?
like
Yeah, they're weak.
It is
Yeah.
early. It's like infancy. It's like maybe a zygote. It's so fresh.
Right.
No, and that's why I said, like, ultimately the responsibility is on my friend. Am I going to side eye him? Sure. But a side eye can change. A side eye is not a death sentence. It's a just, I'm going to watch you.
I don't know.
Paying attention.
I don't know. I feel like
I'm going to watch you and figure out if my eyes can come back to the front.
I feel like it sounds like your days are numbered.
No. Trust me, if your days are numbered, I'm not side eyeing you. I'm cutting you out. I will not speak to you. I will not acknowledge you. This is why I'm saying a side eye, you still in my good graces, because at least I'll look at you.
So there's something I had asked earlier on, and your response was yes, marriage, and then you kind of said, So the question I'll restate it is: does the context of the relationship matter? So boyfriend, fiance, maybe just life partner, marriage. Does that matter? Does that matter at all?
It still matters to me.
It doesn't really matter to me.
Because if you're working towards something, or if you're already in that something that you've worked towards, i.e. marriage, that's a pretty big commitment, I'd say. And yes, like my friendships are really important too. In an ideal world, I'd hope that my husband would just say, "Hey, let's go help her move together."
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
that's
we
what
would
it.
just
But that's what I'm
look
saying.
at
That's what it
If
should
we're getting
be.
to marriage, we should have figured out what was gonna stay or go, type of thing. Yeah.
So I guess I have a completely different approach to this because I have both a friendship that is as old as the hills. I have a friend, my best friend and I have been friends since we were 3. I'll be 32 in September. She is the longest relationship I've had outside of my parents. And then I was also in a long-term committed relationship with one person for 10 years. I'm not with him anymore. It was her house I went to, and it was her floor I cried on, and it was her arms I was in. Imagine I had neglected her at any point in that relationship for him. And it's not that my marriage was not great. It was fantastic. He was a wonderful person, but she's still here and he's not. So that's how I measure it. I'm like, at the end of the day, this person loves me without any obligation. And that's, to me, friendship is so special because there's no familial obligation. There's no sexual obligation. We haven't stood before church and God and man and made a commitment. You've just decided you love me because you love me. Like, that's insane to me. I cannot play with that because that kind of love is it's almost unnatural. Like, there's no condition to that.
Right.
I know if I picked up my phone and I called her right now and I said, and I could ask her for any amount of money, I could ask her to get on a plane and she would come. There is no man on this planet that can play with that.
Right.
Wait until
Well,
God sends you somebody.
there's something you said there.
Whoa, okay.
Didn't he already send me one? And then he took him back?
Did we not have a conversation about tell the world your plans?
There's something you said there where you related it to a specific gender. You said there's no man that could give you that. Do you think it's just that that's just not the situation in your personal life, but would you say that it's possible that a man and a woman could have that dynamic and be platonic and they could be there for each other?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So you said your best friend has been there for you the longest in your life outside of your parents. And you said your husband, you guys are no longer together. He's no longer there. But do you think that's just because of the dynamic of your situation, where in other situations, potentially there could still be a friendship there where you guys support each other to some level or extent? So think of like Kimora Lee and Russell, where there's like...
In the same way that I could pick up my phone and call my best friend, I could pick up my phone and call my ex.
Got you.
I don't because, boundaries and healing and all of that. But if I picked up my phone and called him today, he would be there. But at the end of the day, that level of obligation that we had based on the marriage certificate that we signed, that's no longer there. Right. He could choose not to answer the phone.
And you have to be okay with that.
But couldn't your friend?
Yeah, absolutely.
Couldn't your friend also choose
but she
not
wouldn't.
to? Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But I don't know, because I also have to consider if I call him in 5 years and he's remarried or he's in a long-term relationship,
1000%.
I would totally understand if that woman was like, do not answer that phone. I couldn't be mad at that.
Right.
Because we were together for so long. Like, of course she might be like, And I would understand that. So again, like his boundaries are different. Right. There are different parameters that just don't exist in my friendships.
Understood. Fair enough.